So, hello everyone. Welcome to this week's installment of ClueCon Weekly. This week we have Ruchir Brahmbhatt from Ecosmob, actually co-founder and director at Ecosmob. So, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, Luca, for giving me this opportunity to appear in ClueCon Weekly. I've been waiting for this moment since long time, and finally we made it.
Yeah, it's been a while. So, would you like to give us a quick introduction about yourself, how you started, and what you've been doing?
Sure. So, to give a quick introduction of myself, I'm Ruchir Brahmbhatt. I'm the co-founder and one of the co-founder and director of Ecosmob Technologies Pvt Ltd. We've been into business since over 14 years now. So we started with a small team and specializing in telecom solutions. That's where we got started. Now we have a team of more than 200 people. Over these 14 plus years, we have served more than 600 clients across more than 60 countries and have completed more than 2,500 projects successfully. So we started with communication, but eventually we also forayed into web applications, mobile applications, artificial intelligence and machine learning, DevOps services, support services, quality assurance services, and staff augmentation as well. Over this period, we also built some nice products and founded another product company called Hodusoft. I'm sure some of the people from Hodusoft have interviewed here before. And apart from that, at Ecosmob also, we have founded two products basically. One is a Trago phone, which is a soft phone application which can utilize the WebRTC protocol to make the calls, HD calls over the mobile application. And another is a loyalty expert, that is the software as a service for loyalty domain basically. And over these years, we have worked on so many solutions in communication and telecom domain, like unified communications, mobile virtual network operator solutions, session border controllers, class 4, class 5 switches, contact centers, hosted PBX, conferencing, audio video conferencing, SMS and voice broadcasting systems, dynamic IVRs, emergency response systems, telepresence, fax over IP, and also some interesting use cases in facial recognition, sentiment analysis, image classification, and a lot of interesting stuff we are doing these days. We'd like to talk more about that going forward. And heading to a good start we had and good finish also to this year, and hoping excellent years ahead.
What services does Ecosmob offer? You said you're both a consulting company and a product company. So let maybe start from the consulting aspect too. Like, what's your typical customer, and what services do you provide to them?
We provide custom software development services to our customers primarily. So we develop solutions as per the requirement. As we know that we are specializing in telecom solutions, communication solutions. So we develop various solutions for them. For example, session border controllers, class 4, class 5 switches, IVRs, hosted PBX, contact centers, conferences, MVNO, unified communication solutions, and stuff like that. So that custom software development is there. Apart from that, we also do staff augmentation. Recently, we started that service because especially after the pandemic, there is a huge demand of skilled resources across the globe. So we provide the resources for all technologies like web, mobile, AI/ML, DevOps, support, quality assurance, and lots of other services, and all kind of skills like C++, PHP, Node.js, Android, iOS, Flutter, React Native, Golang, Python, a lot of technical skills we provide as per the client requirements. So we work on different models. One is a fixed cost model, another is a time and material, and another is a full-time equivalent model. So we provide the resources on full-time basis to our clients, and they work on the solutions dedicatedly.
And what about products? You mentioned you recently went into products. We had a Hodusoft segment in ClueCon Weekly about a few weeks ago, and it was very interesting. But you mentioned you have other products going on?
Yes. At Ecosmob, we also built a couple of products. One is Trago phone, which is a WebRTC based soft phone application using which you can make the IP calls from the mobile application itself. You can easily make HD voice and video calls using this application. And it is basically you can have under your own brand. So it's a very good tool for service providers to have your own application, right? And apart from that, we have another product called Loyalty Expert, which is a software as a service. It serves a loyalty domain. Very interesting use cases we have built, including the telecom domain. So thanks to its innovative features and the flexibility that platform offers, we are expecting a huge traction and turnaround in terms of clients in the coming years in the Loyalty Expert. We also have one more product, SaaS-based product in education sector. So that is also we are serving as of now, apart from the services that we offer.
That's very interesting. And yeah, I think anybody who has a consulting company has thought about building products. I come from consulting and I joined SignalWire because I was interested in building products. So there's certainly something there about how the industry is shifting. There will always be place for consulting, but at the same time, it's interesting to have something that's a product. Well, most of your services, many, not most, but many of your services and some of your products probably are built around FreeSWITCH. ClueCon Weekly tries to be some kind of an open source discussion place. So I'm curious about why you decided to use FreeSWITCH. Were you using FreeSWITCH from day one? Did you switch from something else? How do you use it?
Yeah, back in our days when we started the company, that time Asterisk was hot and was at certain maturity level. So that time we had exposure to Asterisk and some other tools, like at that time it was OpenSCR, then it was forked to Kamailio and OpenSIPs. So we started with that, and then over the period of years, we came across FreeSWITCH. That seemed like an interesting promise because it promised lots of concurrent calls using the same hardware. And everyone wants the best out of what they are paying, right? Best for the buck. So what is the maximum juice you can have from the hardware? Definitely clients are interested in that. So we started exploring that. Initially, it took a while to get used to it because a lot of things are same at the same time different compared to Asterisk. So there were some hiccups initially in terms of learning as well as usage and stability. But eventually, when we observed that FreeSWITCH is becoming more and more stable, robust, we started experimenting first in a couple of projects. Then slowly, gradually, we started doing more projects in FreeSWITCH. We noticed there is more stability, more security, more performance. On the same hardware, we are able to make lots more calls. So then we made up our mind that, okay, now onwards for media engine, we are going to use FreeSWITCH only. So since then, there is no looking back. Most of the projects that we work on these days, FreeSWITCH is your primary choice for media engine. And that's what we use as a standalone or as a cluster.
Yeah, that's very, I think it's a lot of I've heard the same story a few times. People coming from Asterisk. Asterisk is still a great platform. I don't want to say anything bad about Asterisk. In fact, back in the day, I did get started through Asterisk too. It was everywhere. I think Asterisk has a place in pure telephony and voice over IP applications. But anytime you're trying to do something more complicated than running a PBX for the company, you eventually run into FreeSWITCH and you run into the entire community. And yeah, it's got a place, but it's also the landscape is changing fairly quickly with WebRTC. With I was at AstriCon when the WebRTC support was announced for Asterisk, and FreeSWITCH quickly became much better. So it's just a matter of things being pushed in a certain direction by the ownership of the projects, maybe. But still, yeah. Thank you, Asterisk, for all the things. And yeah, so something I'm super interested in, because I've been looking at similar applications for a while from external point of view, from a research point of view, and never really wrapped my head around it. Yeah, Ecosmob has been doing a lot of work with machine learning and artificial intelligence regarding applications to VoIP and other aspects. So I'm really curious to hear what you can say, if you can say anything about what you've been doing.
Yeah, so we started this R&D department a couple of years ago, and then we started doing some POCs around AI/ML. So we started with basic facial recognition and image classification proof of concepts. Then we implemented certain live projects using those. So we built our own attendance system using face recognition, which was very robust and performing very well. But it did require some touch points, so we had to put it on hold after Corona. We don't want people to touch the same devices, right? And then we did some serious image classification project to identify the state of certain components in a unit, right, in manufacturing unit or operational unit. So now we are also exploring some use cases in VoIP and telephony domain. There are lots of possibilities, right? You can do sentiment analysis of the voice of the chats. You can do sentiment analysis, like as I'm speaking, if my, the emotions, am I happy, sad, neutral, that kind of POC, a lot of POCs we have done. Like actually you can tell right now, Luca is nervous or not while taking my interview. So lots of possibilities. The future is amazing and bright. I can see with the marriage of VoIP and AIML, what it can bring about is very interesting premise to look on.
For sure. So a couple questions about that. Do you use FreeSWITCH in those projects too as part of the stack? Are you integrating AI and ML with FreeSWITCH, or is it something that's sort of to the side for now?
Yeah, that is something, it's early stages, so it's hard to comment or provide more information. It's too early to say. So far, we have done non-VoIP use cases. We are exploring VoIP cases now.
Yeah, because I'm thinking that there are, the other question before consideration is if you can say, what base platform are you using for machine learning? Is it mostly Python or using something else?
Yeah, we do use Python heavily because that is the best language you can use for AI/ML. And we use certain frameworks like Rasa is very good for chatbot. And apart from that, there are lots of libraries, Python libraries available, which we can utilize. We can use TensorFlow for training the models.
So are you using, you mentioned Rasa, which is fairly interesting. Are you using Rasa only in English, or using it with other languages? Because I've had a hard, sorry?
So far, English only. We are exploring some other interesting cases around different languages. But so far, we are starting with English, basically.
Yeah, same here. It feels like the models are very heavily skewed towards English at the moment. I'm sure there's people doing excellent work in other languages, but right now, anything we tried that wasn't English wasn't great. So still, I think Rasa is the best open source chatbot that's out there that is fully open source, because there's others who are sort of re-implementations of other algorithms, etc. But Rasa is the only fully standalone. So something about open source that I always ask to technical people on the program. Have you experimented with any open source speech recognition?
Yeah, I mean, we did some experimentation POCs with Sphinx earlier. It was a long time ago. We didn't get much fruitful or successful results, I can say. It was working like both TTS festival we were experimenting with and Sphinx for TTS STT, but we didn't feel it like production ready yet. So we gravitated towards using this cloud-based APIs like Sepstol is there for TTS, which is working good. Nowadays, Google is there, Amazon, everyone has offering in TTS and STT. So we are using that in case-to-case basis, basically on client requirements basis. Sometimes we decide what is best for this particular requirement, and then we integrate in our solutions.
Yeah, it feels, I think I have the same feeling. Right now, there are no really good open source speech recognition packages.
And that for the right reasons, because speech to text is a very tough nut to crack. It's not so easy because you have to consider all the different languages and the accents and everything. With that, it's very hard to achieve the accuracy that is desired.
Yeah, I think the problem there is that it's so hard to maintain a working corpus for speech recognition that by the time you've done that much work, you make a product out of it and just sell it, because you have to get the costs back somehow.
Right.
I think it's telling that large companies such as Amazon or Google, who have open source many other things, even more expensive stuff. Like think about Kubernetes. Kubernetes came out of
Yes.
just Google gave it away. I
Correct.
never open sourced anything in the speech recognition space.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting. Yeah, I won't say a problem, but that is a hole in the open source community. I'm hoping that companies, maybe like, of course, like SignalWire, Ecosmob, etc., at some point will probably have to get together. People who have the same level of resources, we have many engineers, etc., and try and figure out if there's a way to have a working ASR thing, and maybe, I don't know, even just 3 or 4 languages, have it working and then move it to the open source level, because many of those projects were just released and then never touched again. Facebook
Yeah.
has a great one.
Yeah, that's a very good, interesting thing you mentioned, Luca, because people like us who have common interest and have the right team to develop and support such a projects, we can definitely collaborate and create and make it open source for everyone to benefit.
I
So
think there's value in either starting something from zero, or maybe looking into what the current best working stuff is. There isn't much. There's Vosk, was actually good, sort of good, if you're doing short sentences, etc., and turning that into a that's something we need to discuss, because I think there's value in that, and it will be a very good way to give back to an open source community. We all have built, well,
yes, yes,
SignalWire was founded by the founders of FreeSWITCH, amongst others. So there's that too. But in general, we've all been building on top of open source, right? So
right.
there's
And definitely we should contribute back, and we also believe the same. So time to time, whichever open source projects that we use, like FreeSWITCH, Kamailio, OpenSIPs, Asterisk, in case we run into any issues or bugs or security issues, in case we are able to fix it, we definitely fix it for the projects, but also contribute back to the community. We contribute the
yeah,
patches.
we all try. On the other hand, we
Urge
know that
everyone to do that too. Whoever is watching ClueCon, I urge everyone, in case you are solving a problem for yourself, do contribute back to the community.
oh yeah, that's thank you for stating that in no uncertain terms. I think contributions have gone down, to be honest. Feels like many open source projects are really now run just by the people who started them, which used not to be the case. But
Yeah,
even large projects such as FreeSWITCH, in the end, we've been getting a bit less contribution than it used to be. I don't know why. People are just probably working on their own things, but still there's more that to make that better, for sure.
right, right.
Well, we just invented a new partnership between SignalWire and Ecosmob. You saw it live on television, guys. But jokes
Yeah.
aside, I know Ecosmob has a lot of other partnerships in the industry. Is there anything you can let us know about that, or are those all secrets?
Yeah, sure. We do have several partnerships. We are partnered with Sapshop. We have also partnered with AWS and DigitalOcean. So we do help our clients in case they want help with the hosting or TTS. We help them with our partnerships to help facilitate it, make it easier for them.
Well, that's those are quite good partnerships. Yeah, there's AWS especially is a great tool, but not all companies have the skills to utilize the cloud right away. I recently spoke to a SignalWire customer was still running their own servers in a rack in their office. And
Yes.
explaining to them how things work was sort of complicated. Like I don't even remember how some of those things work. Like I'm used to,
Right.
I want 10 machines done,
Yeah.
and yeah, we need to go buy a new server. You need to go buy what? I'm not
Yeah,
even sure they still sell hardware.
I mean, so it's you have to be having very good expertise and knowledge and skills to use it correctly, because there you will easily get distracted. There are so many offerings, like almost 100 we can say.
Yeah,
So you need a consultant to help you with the right services and tools to use to make sure you are getting the best for the work that you are paying and you are using the right tools.
so as a consultant at heart, I'm when I have someone technical on the show, I'm always interested in asking about what your methodologies are. Do you run Agile? Do you run Scrum? Do you run a mixture? Do you just use your own goal line thing? It's always interesting to understand how large companies such as Ecosmob run their teams.
Right. So we are heavily into Agile Scrum methodology. So for most of the projects, we use Agile Scrum only, and for very select few projects in which there is ad hoc work or it's difficult to make proper planning, then in that case only we go for Kanban. Otherwise, we execute most projects in Agile Scrum only. We typically have 2 week sprint and 1 month releases. So
Mhm.
week on week we can see the progress. Month on month we can do the releases. We can incrementally release the features to the live platform, and that is having a much higher success ratio compared to any other methodologies there in the market.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
Also,
that.
we do discovery phases initially in
Mhm.
certain big projects, large projects, because in case of agile, typically the time and budget it's typically flexible, so
Mhm.
it's not so easy for anyone to trust any company. Definitely, company may have some reputation across the globe, but still they may not want to take risk with the project directly. So what we do is we do discovery phase. So during that phase, our team of experts, business analysts, and technical experts collaborate with the client. They understand the requirements collaboratively, create the documentation, make sure all the features are right, and we just don't do whatever we are told. We do actually do the consulting. We help them decide on the right features to prioritize them correctly so that they can go to market correctly in the timely manner. They can go to market as fast as possible. They can get the user base faster. They can get a good traction. So they should have the competitive edge. So all these aspects we also try to cover, and then only once they are satisfied, we have all the documents in place. Then we can go for the actual development. So for development, we typically go for FTE model. So after discovery phase, we have already given all the documentation and planning, like okay, how long typically the project will go, which kind of resources month on month we will need. So based on that, we can enter into FTE engagement, and then accordingly the project is started, and that always goes into Agile Scrum.
Do you do the full Scrum thing with the burn down chart, point system, etc.? Just curious about what the, or do you do the simple version where you just do the tasks and then count the tasks?
Well, we do the simple version in the sense like we do hybrid, we can say.
Mhm.
So most of the agile methodologies we follow, like what we do is we do the backlog grooming. So initially all the requirements, user stories are written down. Then we do the prioritization with the client. So after that we do the planning. We plan the sprints. So during the planning we also do the POCR estimation. So we do involve the whole team to estimate correctly. So at the same time, the analysis will start as well as the test case writing will start. So we also have the sprint zero. So during which the analysis, user story writing, and test case writing will go on. And when the sprint one starts, so at that time, the developers work on the development of the features. The testers work on the test cases for the next sprint. BA also works on the user stories for the next sprint. And accordingly, once the sprint one is done and then sprint one QA is done, and then the cycle goes on.
Yeah, that's. I think that
Typically, we
is
do
deadline.
hour-based estimation, not point-based, because point-based at times becomes difficult to manage, especially in the services, especially in the consulting projects. So definitely, everything is in terms of hours. We, despite being agile and flexible, we still need to make sure of the timeline and quality. So we do follow hour-based estimates.
Yeah, that's the same feeling I have. The point-based complicated, well, the point-based full Scrum things only really works in closed-loop development. Like if you're
Yes.
building if you're in a product
Product
company,
development.
yeah,
So product development, it is used more, I think, and closed loop, as you said. For services, consulting, open-ended, we have to
yeah.
build the hours. We need to keep everything in check.
If you're working on your own platform and you want to implement, I don't know, the new invoicing system gets broken down into features, you know you'll be done in a month, and then it's going to be print invoices, 2 points, create new invoices, 4 points. It's easier. But consulting, sometimes it's questions like, hey, get this working. Get something
Yeah.
working is not a task. It's, you just
Yeah.
do it.
So
Like,
when client asks like, how much time it will take to deliver the invoicing feature, we can't tell it will take 5 points. We have to tell them 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 days, right?
yeah, it is. It's certainly true. I think that has evolved, and I think that echoes with something I've heard from almost anyone. that we will all be using sometimes of agile, but the let's say the old style strict way is not really very popular at the moment, which is fine, I guess. It's just how things are, right? So interesting thing about so we mentioned your team, we mentioned doing a lot of things with mobile, you're doing various server side stuff, but and you mentioned your products, but what's in the future of Ecosmob?
Future, as we are focusing a lot in different services like staff augmentation, in which we are serving different type of skill sets, as I mentioned earlier. So in the last couple of years, we have grown excellently, and we are expecting kind of exponential growth going forward. So we are expecting like 10x growth in the next 5 years. So we are continuing to explore the new possibilities to build more robust solutions, more large-scale solutions in telecom and communications, providing more skilled resources in the market as per the demand, expanding the services, expanding more serious comprehensive use cases in AI/ML domain. Also, we are expanding a lot in DevOps and all kind of support, L1, L2, L3. So we can basically give 24/7 coverage to our clients. So whenever they need, definitely we are still there right now. Also, we do serve them in the emergencies, but it helps if you have a team working with you collaboratively 24/7 in whichever time zone you are. It gives a good sense of security, right? So that we are going to focus heavily in terms of service offerings. We also have registered the company in US and Canada. So soon we are starting operations heavily in those countries and planning to expand more in some other countries as well going forward. Trying to build some more partnerships. So there is a mutual interest from different partners to work together to collaborate. Looking forward to that as well and continue to grow and making sure that at the same time our team grows as well because we believe company can grow only if the people can grow. So we are investing heavily in learning and development department. We are continuously making sure that our resources are skilled and updated with the latest trends and technologies. We try to keep ourselves up to date and try to learn new and new things that is coming in the market.
So that brings up an interesting question, which actually just came to my mind, and it's super interesting. So how do you find and train your developers? Do you look for schools where they come out, come out of university or whatever, or do you do something different where you hire people and then you train them yourself, or a mixture? I'm curious.
We use combination of all. So basically, we continuously hire the fresh graduates or trainees as well from the different schools. Then we onboard them in the training programs to make them skilled and up to mark as per the market demand. At the same time, we also hire experienced people because especially in staff augmentation, most of the companies demand experienced people only. So definitely there will be people who have joined us as a fresher and then they become experienced who will be ready for such requirements. But we, as per the market demand, we have to continuously hire experienced people from the market. So we look for the resources. So far we've been hiring locally, but now especially thanks to pandemic, we have hiring from across the country. Right now we have employees in 17 states, sorry, in the whole country. And now going forward, to make sure we can hire the best talent pool that is available across the globe, we are planning to hire across the globe also.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, there's so I know India is a great reservoir of talent. We have we have our director of product and many other people at Signalwire. I have training in India, and it's just
And by the
amazing
way,
how.
sorry to interrupt you, but by the way, I would like to mention Signalwire is also one of the inspiration that we can make work from home and work from anywhere possible.
Oh
Because
yeah,
I,
for sure. We don't technically have an office. There's one in San Francisco. Few
yeah,
people go, and just that's it. So yeah, you can certainly do it. It's more possible. When we started out, people were looking at us funny, like what? But it's become more and more possible. Plus, there's I think untapped areas of very talented people, such as Eastern Europe, we're still fragmented in a little bit. There's no large companies hiring from there. But we have plenty of people from Eastern Europe for great too. So you could look at that too, and well, maybe we can exchange some candidates.
Yeah.
It's timing's right. We're always looking for people.
Right.
Cool. So, I have to thank you very much for the chat today. It was a pleasure meeting you. And for everybody else, let's thank Ruchir Brahmbhatt, director and co-founder of Ecosmob, for joining us today. And for the audience, I'll see you next week.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Luca, for having me here. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. Hope to see you again soon.
Me too, man. I'll see you soon.
Goodbye. Take care.
Bye.